So we are on day 39 of the manhunt for Joshua Zimmerman. He escaped from the DeSoto County Courthouse on June 14th, and he was last seen in Memphis on June 15th. And here's what we know, which is nothing different, guys. I'm going to keep saying that until there is an update, but there just isn't. He was, I guess we'll do a little recap. June 14th, I guess we'll do a bigger recap. I almost called him Aaron Hernandez. Joshua Zimmerman, he is wanted out of Connecticut for multiple rapes. He's wanted out of Texas for murder of the first degree, and he's wanted out of Mississippi for an attempted murder and an armed robbery. Zimmerman's crime spree began in Connecticut, Waterbury, Connecticut, at a young age where he kind of clicked. He would be friends with a lot of girls. I spoke to girls that went to high school with him, that were with him before he clicked, and they describe him as a kind of normal guy, which didn't make sense. They just didn't understand how somebody like him could click, and nobody does. I mean, look at Chris Watts. He killed his fiancée, who was pregnant, or his pregnant wife, and his two daughters, two daughters and the pregnant wife, and it's just sickening. So they didn't see it coming, a lot of his high school friends, for Zimmerman. So Zimmerman begins his crime spree in Connecticut, and that includes everything under the sun. The stuff that he's on the run for right now, he did in Connecticut. He kidnapped a girl first, let me back up. He goes to his sister's house and he steals a gun from his sister, right? Zimmerman, he steals a gun from his sister, his blood sister, or her boyfriend or husband, from that household. From there, he goes and kidnaps a girl, rapes her, and tries to kill her. Those charges are dropped. So what's interesting is, I don't know why they dropped those charges, but now that I heard from those closest to him and they explained to me that he did in fact steal a gun, kidnap the girl, and try to kill her, he should face those charges in Connecticut. But nevertheless, they dropped that. What happens, he continues doing Joshua. Zimmerman keeps doing crime. Eventually, he meets a girl, and the two are together. This is going back into they met let's just say they went on this little road trip toward Houston in the summer, right? And the reason why they went on a road trip wasn't because they're in love. It's because the police said, "We're coming to pick you up. The DNA test just came back and you raped a man." So Zimmerman, being scared of having to face the consequences and being called a bisexual, cross-dressing animal, he flees. At the time, all the gangs in that region, which Zimmerman claims to be part of, they make him the laughing stock, the Latin princess. He claims to be a part of the Latin kings, and he's just not. If anything, they won't accept people like that, and he would be called like a little Latin princess. He would be like the girl in the group, and that's what caused him to run from Connecticut. He was being called names. He was being called a lot of stuff for raping a man. So he leaves. He flees. They go through Florida. They go through Georgia, Florida, make their little way up to Houston. Zimmerman now thinks that girl is going to cooperate with authorities because she spoke with her dad. So what does he do? He blows her head off right where he wants to leave the name, the Zimmerman, but he blows the head, brain matter everywhere. That's how the police described it. It's a gruesome scene. He does that, goes from there on the run again, makes his way to Mississippi with $150. Okay, meets a victim at the Home Depot, a male victim, and says he's looking for work. Now, the stories are conflicting, but it's still work. It's just a small technicality or a small conflict. It's either a landscaping gig or a construction gig. But again, it was a gig job. So he meets the victim. They get each other's information, and Zimmerman begins working for him just a little bit, right? Nothing crazy, not full time. The victim goes to take a nap in the home while Zimmerman is still doing the, let's say, landscaping, planting trees, okay? The victim wakes up to Zimmerman shooting him. And this is where I'm a little confused because I don't know where he was shot. I do know that there is a victim that was shot in the neck, and I don't think it's this guy. This guy wasn't shot in the neck, I don't believe. So I heard the part about the guy shot in the neck from a source that is related to Zimmerman. So that adds a second attempted murder that has nothing to do with the Mississippi thing. So I don't know where he shot that guy. From there, Zimmerman, I'm trying to think of how we have to make sure we stick to what's public right now. But the long story short is Zimmerman and a girl were together back in September of 23 when the attempted murder and the armed robbery took place in Mississippi. So the girl was with Zimmerman, according to multiple sources that are as close as it gets to the case. The problem is the girl was never captured, the girl was never questioned, the girl was never identified. So when police arrested Zimmerman for the attempted murder, they get him, but the girl is nowhere to be found, and there's not a trace of her on any of the paperwork at all. So what we know right now is that authorities are searching for Zimmerman in Mississippi, in Tennessee, Florida, and Connecticut seems to be more of a proactive response that they are building. I can tell you that his safest bet right now, if you're watching Zimmerman, is to go to, that's the only place they're not going to look for you, but anywhere else they're coming. There's really not many places somebody like him can go. You guys have to be on the lookout. And I'm going to bring up an old case that a lot of us only know about because of that show, it's not an American crime story or American Horror Story. I think it's like American Crime Story. They did that show, The People versus OJ. And then they did a second show about the Versace assassination. And if you guys watched that, Andrew Cunanan was a killer back in the 90s, right? And he was bisexual. Almost, this is like a page out of a Cunanan playbook. He was a bisexual serial killer. He was on the FBI's top 15 or top 10 most wanted in 1997 and 96. His face was everywhere, okay? But it wasn't in Miami. And that is why Versace ended up dead. And I'm going to get to that. So the FBI is scouring the United States of America back in the 90s. They sent out millions of posters with Andrew Cunanan's face on it. The FBI gets to the Versace mansion immediately after the assassination, and it comes back as Andrew Cunanan. And the FBI says, well, that's great. Did you guys hand out the wanted posters? To the Miami PD opens up their trunk, and it's full of thousands of posters that say wanted for murder. A serial killer is coming. Andrew Cunanan. Well, guess what? Andrew came, Andrew killed, Andrew left. That's what's going to happen here, guys. We are spreading the word on social media, which is amazing because they didn't have social media back in the 90s. And what's going to happen is Zimmerman's going to kill somebody, and the FBI and the marshals are going to show up and ask, did you guys push this? Did you guys... There's no coverage on this. So if he kills somebody in Nashville, Tennessee, they don't know what the hell's going on. Heck, I don't think people in Mississippi still isn't even fully aware at all. They are not. DeSoto County is about maybe 80% aware at this point. You know how bad that is? We are going on day 40 tomorrow. When Danilo Cavalcante escaped, that same day, 100% of Chester County knew about it. That next day, a majority of Pennsylvania knew about it. And by day 4, the world knew about it. The world. We're on day 40. There's like 42 people that know this dude's face, okay? He's going to end up killing. And that's when they are going to say, well, why was nobody looking for him? We put his picture out. Guys, be on the lookout. Stay vigilant. It is up to us. I'm not saying that the police aren't doing everything they can, but you have to remember the U.S. Marshals are not magicians. They do one thing, and that is they catch monsters. They catch killers. They catch. That's all. They will catch anybody. But they need a scent. They are like human bloodhounds. We have to give them that little scent, whether it's a snippet of him walking, whether it's a sighting, whether it's a piece of clothing found. We have to get the marshals something to run with, because once they get, whether it's a thread of evidence or his phone, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's small or big, we're going to see a lot of movement. A lot of movement. Like I'm talking about Mississippi's going to get to see some Danilo Cavalcante style operations go down if he's seen in Mississippi. If he's not seen in Mississippi, that state that he's seen in has something coming, because they're not going to be prepared for the wrath that's going to come down on that area. Say they see him in my area, Delaware County. The national alert on this guy right now for every license plate and car that could be associated to somebody that he might have known somebody is in a database. When the police run any of those license plates, they get a notification that says to stall and stand by and wait for a federal response. They are not gonna play games. When Zimmerman is spotted, if it is in Florida, you guys are gonna see some intense lockdowns. You're gonna see shelter in places. You're gonna see people coming out in tactical gear, bulletproof vests, rifles. They're gonna be looking for this guy. You're gonna see every gun that you could think of that the military would have. You're gonna see that stuff driving around. You're gonna see ground radars. You're gonna see Blackhawks. You're gonna see Bortac. You're gonna see just about everything under the sun. And let me get back to Bortac real quick. So they were supposed to actually get involved a week and a half ago. And the way Bortac works is they need something to also run off of, right? They are monsters. When they come to town, these people will... They are our Navy SEALs, Bortac, right? So, but they, again, are not magicians. They can land. They don't really land. They kind of hop off of they get out the Blackhawks, but they also need something to go off of. And they can't just blindly fly, because Bortac doesn't come with one. It's 30 men, and I don't know how many people fit in a Blackhawk. It's not 30. So I think they come in 4 or 6 of them. So do the math to fly from El Paso to wherever these guys are. Now, they get there quick, but they need a scent. They need something. As soon as we have a scent, America, they're going to come and catch this monster, and they're going to put him in the ground before he puts somebody else in the ground. So if you see something, say something. Florida, be on the lookout. Connecticut, be on the lookout. Mississippi, stay on the lookout. And Memphis, stay on the lookout. If you live in Memphis and in Mississippi and you guys are lowering your guard, that is the deadliest thing you can do at a time like this. We are going on day 40. What that means is the next time this little rascal is seen, it's going to make so much noise that it's going to be world news. You guys are going to see this stuff on the world news. You can't have a killer on the run for 40 days. As soon as they have a sighting that's out of Mississippi, it's game over. So let's get a sighting. If you are anywhere, just pay a little bit more attention to your surroundings. Greyhound drivers, again, Greyhound. If you have friends that work there, send them the wanted poster and have them circulate it at every hub they go to text it to other drivers. Okay, this is something that we can put an end to ourselves. Now, that said, he's armed. So if you are a Greyhound driver, do not make a scene on the bus. Do not make any kind of stupid movements on the bus. The goal is to get everybody off the damn bus before you make a move or don't make any kind of crazy moves. I'm sorry for spinning, but just Greyhound drivers, if you see him, act normal, and you call the police and act like you're speaking to dispatch, and you have a conversation about how the hell are you going to get the bus unloaded, because he is armed. You do not want to let this guy know that he is onto you. And that's if he's on a bus, which is it's very likely that he's using buses right now. They don't need ID. If you're a bus driver, again, do not make a scene. If you're on the bus, do not make a scene. If you see him somewhere, do not make a scene. Remain unseen. Call 911 immediately, and what you tell them, if you're not, say that you are in Florida and that they don't know much about Zimmerman in your area, the call goes something like this: I think I just saw the escaped prisoner from Mississippi who's wanted for murder in Sarasota County, for example. I'm at the 7-Eleven on this corner. He made a left. That's all they need. And then they will pull every single traffic cam, and they'll follow that car home digitally, and they'll find out. They could tap into Ring cameras. They could tap into just about everything, okay? So they will, and they'll find him. It'll be over, but we need to do our part is do not approach, do not apprehend, share his poster, check your surveillance cameras. If you own businesses, check your surveillance, check the back of the business surveillance for dumpsters and stuff like that. Check, again, Greyhound, that's a big one. I need you guys to start spreading the word of Greyhound. But again, if you see something, say something. I'll be back later if we have any updates. The latest updates are Connecticut, be on the lookout as a proactive measure. The feds are very active in your region. Florida, be on the lookout because he might be in your area. Mississippi and Tennessee, remain on the lookout because he might have never left. Again, I'll be back later if there are any other updates.